Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back from the future reviewing episode 4 of Season 7 Adventure Time, the Mama Said episode. The bananas at the end sing, Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This. I just finished editing the episode. I threw it up on YouTube. I jumped in to this. This is Uncivilized Elk doing a review of episode 4, season 7. We're going to watch that, then we're going to talk at the end. But just to get my take on it, having seen it a second time and having already seen all of Adventure Time and knowing what happens in the future. If you didn't notice in the episode, I didn't remember Canyon too well when I watched that back like 2.5 years ago. I went back, I recapped everything, and it does show Canyon in Billy's bucket list. Billy's bucket list was an awesome episode where we had to do Billy's bucket list, and taking Canyon for a ride was one of the things. Billy only shows up a few more times. I went and looked it up before, and it looked like that was the last time we saw Canyon, because I don't recall any times after that. And honestly, in the thing, it said Billy's bucket list was the first appearance, and the last appearance, I think it said, was Mama Said. So that might have also been the last time we saw her. But awesome character. We have to fight the shroom monster, or whatever the heck it was, and she cut it in half. It exploded. The bananas threw the King of Ooh off the stairs, face planted, and then sang Mama Said There'd Be Days Like This, because they feel bad, I guess, for flinging the King of Ooh off the top of the stairs. I had forgotten in the episode, but this time I had remembered, obviously, that happened at the end. Or at some point I remember it happened. I didn't remember it happening exactly at the very end, and that's how we actually went to credits. But regardless, let's go watch Uncivilized Elk. We'll jump into the next ones. You guys want to see more of what I do? In the description of every video is a link for Patreon. We've been doing Fiona and Cake. I think there are 4 episodes left. Watching it on Thursday mornings. It comes out at 3 a.m. on Thursday on Max, which was HBO Max at one point. So I watch them at first thing in the morning, and I try to edit them up as soon as possible. We have all 6 episodes up on YouTube, but they're in full on Patreon, as well as Peaky Blinders, Doctor Who, Person of Interest, My Hero Academia, all of Adventure Time in full, and Distant Lands, Steven Universe, Infinity Train, hundreds of movies and shows. Check in the description is the link. If not, Season 7, Episode 4, Uncivilized Elk's review of Adventure Time. Mama Said
is an episode which is evocative of the earlier seasons of Adventure Time. I think it would fit perfectly into seasons 1 through 3 in particular, as its primary purpose is to be a silly little adventure with wacky hijinks.
Agreed.
Similar to many of the older episodes, the objective of the adventure does not matter. It's all about the fun that occurs during the trek. While Canyon did find her family's lost sacred spring, we don't actually know why she was looking for it or what the spring is for, which is similar to past episodes such as Dungeon, where our characters explore a locale called the Dungeon of the Crystal Eye, but we as an audience don't get a shred of backstory as to what the Crystal Eyes actually are. In these sorts of Adventure Time romps, it's all about the fun during the journey, not the destination. So my assessment is that this was a nice little episode for what it was, considering nothing of real significance took place in it. The plot does move along slightly in that King of Ooh fires Finn and Jake, which can only mean his rule is drawing closer and closer to an end, and Finn and Jake get to become closer friends with Canyon. But overall, the appeal was the wackiness, and perhaps maybe the mushroom facts too. Adventure Time's seemingly random weirdness is often accredited to the creators being on drugs. I'm not a fan of claiming odd things are drug-induced or inspired, even in jest, seeing as how the regular human mind is already plenty screwed up enough on its own to come up with bizarre creatures and events. I'd like to hark to a quote by Salvador Dali, "I'm not on drugs, I am drugs."
I fudged the quote. I was going to say the book says different.
Perhaps its creation actually was in part aided by some
I mean, it looked psychedelic,
mind-altering ingestible, perhaps of a fungal variety, maybe?
And the fungal, I was going to say, psychedelic.
But seriously, this episode did have more non-sequitur moments than usual, even for Adventure Time, with the most blatant being the cover to a song by the Shirelles, performed at the very end. I actually wish that final musical number and dance went on for longer than it did.
And the thing, dance.
It was nice to see Canyon again. To me, it felt like this episode was a prelude to a future adventure, which would be more involved and be of actual dire importance. This step further established the rapport between our main duo and Canyon in a casual and laid-back manner. They're all quickly becoming friends and are quite in sync with one another, so hopefully we can jump straight into more complex inter-character interactions in the future. I have to say, I was slightly disappointed that we learn almost nothing new about Canyon, Everything we can infer about Canyon's personality from this episode is information we could have inferred from her previous appearance as well. She displayed the exact same character traits and showcased the same ability to control water, just like in Billy's bucket list. Canyon does acknowledge reincarnation in this episode though, which is not a very common thing for characters in Adventure Time to do. The manner in which she mocks King of Ooh also seemed to hint that she has a lot of knowledge about the land of Ooh, perhaps even on a large timescale. I certainly got that inclination. If she is indeed a water elemental of some sort, as her powers imply, she could be quite old relatively and thus very knowledgeable. Her being a long-lived person was supported by her appearance remaining youthful in contrast to Billy's aging. But I almost don't want this interpretation to be true because I think Adventure Time already has enough characters who are super long-lived. This episode marks the first time a scene with King of Ooh had me burst out laughing. But really, it's the Banana Guard who gets to take the credit rather than Koo himself. I need to mention that Koo in Princess Bubblegum's casual attire at the start of the episode actually looked great, unironically.
Did you notice he was wearing Princess Bubblegum's clothes? Yeah, that was sort of cool.
I agree with Jake here. It actually was sort of cool how well he brings the outfit together. If PB had never worn these clothes, and the first time we saw King of Ooh he was adorned in that outfit, I don't think it would be the least bit peculiar. These clothes actually look good on King of Ooh. I hope he wears them more often.
He makes a huge deal of it.
If he does, though, we would have less awkward upskirt shots that show how leggy King of Ooh is.
That was,
Would that be a blessing or a tragedy?
That was a shot.
That is for you to decide.
All right, everybody, that's it for the review from Uncivilized Elk. I was thinking during the end of the video, and I was going to say it, but I'm like, I'll just wait till we're finished so I don't talk over him for the entire ending. But great review, short one, only 4 minutes and 10 seconds, much shorter than the other ones. I guess it wasn't as epic an episode or as much to talk about. We got Canyon, but he even said in the video how there wasn't really much more touched on, kind of just another adventure of insanity, and we got that, and she was great and everything, but nothing really else to build on. I started thinking at that point, when did Uncivilized Elk react to these? Because I'm going back and seeing them for the second time and then watching the review. He's assuming that we are going to build on the character of Canyon in the future, and I just realized he might not know the future like I know the future now, because I've seen all Adventure Time and we're going back and we're revisiting it. He might not know because he might have been watching these as they dropped live. I'm pretty sure that might be the case now that I thought about it, because unless I'm crazy, when I just looked it up, we don't ever see Canyon again. And having revisited this episode in my head, I thought that was crazy too, because I feel like Uncivilized Elk is saying this is just the start of building further on this epic character that we will probably revisit several times. And like I said, unless I'm forgetting or the site is wrong, I feel like that was it. And I felt that was crazy. I felt like we should have seen her again. And I even thought maybe I forgot something, but either way, it was a great episode. And we had the Mama Said, he said it was the Shirelles. I would have never guessed that. I was actually going to look it up and totally forgot. And it was great that Uncivilized Elk looked it up. So the Shirelles were the group that sang Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This. Totally random. It was also, like they said in the beginning, one of the first times I burst out laughing, I feel like, when the King of Ooh face planted. It does set up the fact that I guess it was branching off from King of Ooh, that King of Ooh will be overthrown and things are going to change. I thought back in episode 2, was it? Or 1? With Bubblegum Princess seeing the outcome of everything and having to kind of assist in certain ways. I thought that would have happened already by now, that the King of Ooh gets overthrown and tossed out of here for good. We'll find out soon enough when I edit it up and we do another review. But great review. I love the thumbnail over here. We even talked about how shrooms being possibly the choice, but if you're going to do an episode and base it on shrooms, you're probably going to go the route of making it look crazy and psychedelic intentionally. So I don't know. I would believe these are just in the imaginations of some people. It's very similar to Rick and Morty, but Rick and Morty gets a lot more R-rated, I feel like. The new ones, Fiona and Cake, are going into that realm because it's even labeled adult animation. So we're going to check those out this Thursday. They'll be up on Patreon as soon as possible. All of Adventure Time, Distant Land, Steven Universe, My Hero Academia. Check it out. In the description is the link for Patreon. Full unedited versions of everything. If not, comments down below. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.